Stalker, I'm the badger.
Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it's time for Olaf in the jungle. What we're going to do is talk about Olaf, a build for him, his abilities, his runes, his masteries, and some pros and cons. And it's going to be fun. So let's kick things off right away by talking about his runes and his masteries. For those runes, few options here. What we're going to be taking this game, at least we had, is attack damage marks. We had armor seals, we had magic resist glyphs, and I believe we had movement speed quintessences, which is really awesome because Olaf already has actually really good base movement speed, and movement speed quints on top of that, even better. We'll take it. And then as for the masteries page, we go with a 9 in the offense and 21 in the defense. We take a more defensive page, and that is helpful because we will be building more tank as the game goes on because of a few things in our kit. So let's talk about his abilities so we know what's in his kit. Starting things off with his passive, this is Berserker Rage. For each 1% of health missing, Olaf's attack speed is increased by 1%. So the lower health you have, the more attack speed you gain. So if you have lots of health and you're missing more of it, you're still going to get a lot of attack speed. So it's pretty nice. You can farm up with this pretty well in the jungle. It's kind of nice too when you are in the jungle and you are lower health, because you will attack and kill the thing that's trying to kill you faster. It does help you not die, which is pretty helpful. So let's talk about his other abilities, actually. His Q, we'll start off with that. That is his undertow. Olaf throws an axe at the target location, dealing physical damage to the units that it hits, and it will slow them for a percentage and for a specified amount of time based on the travel distance. If you do pick up the axe that you have thrown, the ability cooldown is reduced by 4.5 seconds. Very important to be picking up those axes while you are chasing to constantly slow down the enemy. The only unfortunate thing, and this is definitely a con when it comes to Olaf, we'll get to pros and cons now a little bit, is if you miss your Q, you have no CC. You have no reliable crowd control besides your Q, and it is, it is a skill shot. So be prepared to land it over and over, because that is really good to do. We're going to also max this out first. It does a lot of good damage early on. At level 2, we're going to put a point into Vicious Strikes. This is your W ability. For 6 seconds, Olaf's going to gain a percentage of lifesteal and attack speed. He's going to gain 1% extra healing for every 2% health he is missing while he activates this. So very good, helps you heal up in the jungle. And when you're fighting, really. This helps you survive early on. Also just helps you survive while you're in team fights as the game continues onward. We typically max this out last. Then at level 3, put a point into your Reckless Swing. This is your E ability. Olaf's going to deal true damage to his target. If he doesn't kill the target, he inflicts 30% of the total damage dealt to himself as true damage. Basic attacks reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1 second. So make sure you keep auto-attacking them to reduce the cooldown of the ability. Very important to do this. This is one of the most devastating things to actually max out first in lane if you're playing Olaf in lane. The true damage is just outrageous. I mean, it's true damage. True damage is very strong. We know this. So Reckless Swing is another one of those things that's very helpful when you can build him full tank and you can still deal significant damage to the enemy. So it's very good for getting the back line and destroying 80 carries and mages that are potentially going to try to carry the game. So next then is his ultimate. This is his Ragnarok, which apparently Americans say that funny. At least everybody says we do, which I probably do. It's whatever. Anyways, passively, Olaf's going to gain 10, 20, and 30 armor and magic resist. Now, actively, he's going to break any crowd control effects. Olaf loses the passive bonus armor and magic resist, but he's going to gain bonus attack damage. And that's going to scale upward when you put more points into it from 40, 60, and 80. So he's got a really, really cool ultimate. Basically, it's a hyper Quicksilver Sash. You just activate it when you get crowd controlled, run around, not get affected by any crowd control, and that is allowing him to run through the fights, chuck all of those undertows at the enemies, and reckless swing them all to death. This is what you want to do most of the time when you're going to be fighting with Olaf in those team fights. So important to do so. Also, it helps you pick up that damage too. Get on them, auto them, throw some Qs, drop some Es, lifesteal with some Ws. You're good to go. Those are his abilities. Like I said, max Q, then E, then W, then obviously R at 6, 11, 16. It's good to do. So let's talk about the early items that we've purchased in the build. We've obviously started off with the Hunter's Machete and health pots because we are jungling. And then when we went back early on, what we did is we picked up the Rangers. Now, Rangers or Stalkers is honestly the choices you want. Rangers would be safer for just clearing. I don't actually know why I really got Rangers. It just kind of seemed like the thing to do at the time. Stalker's going to be much better for actually ganking, because if you do miss your Q, then you have backup slow with Stalker's Blade. Obviously, we will be building the Cinderhulk enchantment. We're building him as a tank. So we obviously want the health. We want the burn with it involved, which is very nice as well. And we do want to get the bonus health we will be receiving from it later on. Now, later in the build, or actually we've already picked it up, so we'll talk about it. The next item that we've actually fully finished off, which is a great item for Olaf for getting to the back line, is the Righteous Glory. It'll allow you to speed yourself up and your team and slow them when you get close to them. Also, it gives you an unbelievable amount of health, which is great. And that's going to scale really well with Cinderhulk. Righteous Glory with Cinderhulk right now might be one of the strongest combo items, or item combos in the game. So just remember that. Righteous Glory and Cinderhulk enchantment. Those go together really well. Also, another nice thing, too, is if Olaf doesn't have a blue buff, which I do right now, also you can chase down people forever with the Qs. Look, it just keeps going and happening. Although he will get away because his slow machine showed up. But his slow machine will pay his life because of the slows we can do. Also, Ash can slow too. Olaf and Ash, that's just kind of a combo you don't run away from unless Zed kills you. But anyways, back to the items. So the other nice thing, like I was saying about Righteous Glory, is Olaf will go through his mana chucking those Qs over and over and over again. So Righteous Glory having the mana built into it, very good. And the passive too, when you level up, getting health and mana back over the 8 seconds is fantastic too. So just a double whammy, especially if you level up mid-fight. Helps you just continue to tank things out. We've picked up Ninja Tabi this game. We're going to really pick up the boots that help us the most against the enemy team. Boots of Swiftness would actually be something I don't want to say I want to recommend all the time, but you might want to try it. It makes them faster. It's going to be helpful for you chasing down people. Why not? Merc Tread's also helpful if they have a lot of magic damage and you need the tenacity. Obviously, you don't really have to have the tenacity if you just bust out the ultimate, but if the ultimate isn't up, having tenacity is never a terrible thing. And the magic resist can be helpful. But we've gone with Ninja Tabi this game because they got a Zed in the mid lane and they have an Lucian. So between those two, we're just really gonna want to negate some of those auto attacks and have a little bit more armor as we continue onward. So the next item that we do build up will also synergize well with the kit, mostly because it's going to give us more health and armor. We are starting to build towards the Randuin's Omen. Omen's great. Once again, activate it, and you will slow all of them down in a fight, which is great. Why not slow people down in a fight? Makes sense to me. Also, the armor's really good. If they attack you, you get the active from that as well, where it slows their movement speed, and yeah, fun. Cold Steel. If you're hit by a basic attack, you slow the attacker's attack speed. Sorry, not slow them physically, but slow their attacks by 15%. Gonna get into a fight in the dragon pit. We're gonna smite it because why not? We want the dragon. We're gonna flash for the wall and chase and throw Qs and chase. Although he doesn't run away, he lets Varus attack. They don't have a Lucian. Why did I think they had a Lucian? That makes no sense. It's Varus. He's got no real hardcore crowd control. We're just gonna chuck a Q, and we're not gonna attack him. We'll let Ash pick that up. And yeah, teamwork, yay. So we're gonna go ahead and finish off the Omen. That's gonna be a fantastic item, like I said, to pick up. Now, if you didn't really want to worry about that, they had a Vayne on their team or something, or aggressive, fast-attacking ADC, which Varus can with his passive. But the other option you could definitely go with is the Frozen Heart. Good item, for sure. We're going to go ahead and annihilate Zed because it's worth it. Good QSS Zed. That was terrible timing. But yeah. Let's talk a little bit about his pros and cons, though, since we are 3 items into the build. So, more pros. High damage output throughout the whole game is one thing I can definitely bring up when it comes to a pro. He just continuously will have damage. True damage will do that. Also, early on, he does significant damage. If you land those Qs on those ganks, oh, man, people die. It's real. It's going to happen. Overall, he is tanky. He passively gets it anyways from his ultimate. So he just naturally is tanky. Faster than most champions, too. We did talk about this briefly, so if you just make him fast to get through people. Also, he lives very long. I mean, it's taking 4 people to kill me there, and I almost did kill one of them. How fun. You can potentially heal up completely once the game gets going a little bit, too, while you're in the jungle. You never really have to worry about your health. Also, like I said, with Righteous Glory's passive, that continues to make that even easier. And yeah, that's another one. So the main things are, if your ult is not up, man, you are very vulnerable to crowd control if you really are trying to get to the back line. It makes it very difficult. So those are main things to be careful about, especially with slows. And like I said earlier, you do rely on your Q to slow people. So if you miss it while you're chasing and they have flash and you don't, or you don't have Ghost, because Ghost is another popular thing to take on the Olaf, you just need to really land your Q. Like, if you miss the Q, your chase is basically over. Right here, we're going to keep landing the Q, so you keep not getting away. And then we'll throw a quick reckless swing down, true damage, and kill him. But you really got to land the Qs. That's the biggest thing. Just land the Qs. And then, yeah, I mean, that's probably his biggest downfall, honestly. Land them Qs. Don't get kited. Land them Qs. When you go in for a fight, go in for a fight. Unfortunately, if you just bust out your ultimate right away at the beginning of a fight, like before you're even really engaged, the enemy team might just kite away and basically be like, well, okay, hold on a second. Once his ultimate's over, let's just then fight, because he won't be able to get through all of our crowd control. So don't kite out your own ultimate. It's just unfortunate if that actually happens. So yes. Avoid that very, very much. So the next item we're building in the build is Magic Resist. Spirit Visage is actually going to be probably what you want, because Banshee's Veil you don't need as much since you can break the crowd control with your ultimate, and the Spirit Visage will give you cooldown reduction, and it will give you the increased healing regeneration. So that's very, very good, because you already have Lifesteal built into your kit, and you can just amp that up when you do activate it. So very good. We're going to chase down Zed because he deserves to die. That's really the only reason I have there. There's no hate. It's just how I feel. Now, if you really wanted to pick up a damage item on Olaf instead of just going straight tank, I would highly recommend the Blade of the Ruined King. You can use the active to also slow them, and it's going to give you it's going to give you some percentage damage, a lot of attack speed, which is really good. You'll just get on people and you just start murdering them down, which is really fun. If you just needed, a little more to get through them, you'd probably do like a Last Whisper Ghost Blade. But if you wanted to continue to just get beefy this game, the next item I would honestly recommend after you finish off your Spirit Visage is to pick up a Warmogs. The amount of armor, or not armor, the amount of health, obviously, and the regeneration stats you'll get from it, with all of your other just big tanky health items and your Spirit Visage, you're going to be a very, very annoying big tank. I mean, right now in the game, we have 4,300 health. We don't even have a final item. We haven't even finished the Spirit Visage. This is going to make you incredibly hard to kill. Very beefy, very tanky, run straight through them. Obviously, there's other choices too. You could go with a Thornmail Locket of the Iron Solari as another option too. But that's pretty much Olaf. That's going to be a build. Everything you need to know about it is in the description. If you have questions, put them down below. And other than that, I'll see all of you in the next build video.